Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. Joining us today is attorney and author Gabriel Urza. His new book, The Silver State, is just out. Next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food. It's a good time to eat. Over 500 hot slots, plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good times a tamarack.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. And joining me today is Gabriel Urza, who's an attorney and an author, most recently of the book, The Silver State. Welcome.
Good morning, Orrin.
So tell us, before we get into the book, which I'm very excited to talk about, tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Reno, is that right?
I did. I grew up in Reno on my mom's side of the family. I think I'm a fourth generation Nevadan. My dad is a first generation American. And I went to McQueen High School and went to University of Nevada, Reno as well. And then I went to law school at the University of Notre Dame. And after I finished law school, I came back to Reno, where I worked with you actually briefly in the public defender's office in Washoe County. And I did that for about 5 years.
That's right. So, and we did work. Yeah, I was there for about 5 years as well. It's a great place to start the practice of law and learn some stuff. So, are you still practicing law?
I am occasionally. So just to give a little bit of additional back history, maybe after 5 years, as is wont to happen to young public defenders, I burned out a bit. And so I went to grad school for creative writing in Ohio. And after I finished that, it was a 3-year degree. It gave me a chance to focus on writing and to take a step away from my legal career and to really think about my legal career through the lens of writing. And then I came back to Reno and I started working in the alternate public defender's office. And I was there for about another year.
So they just keep pulling you back in.
They keep pulling me back in. Exactly. It's like a bad movie. I keep saying I'm retiring, but they keep bringing me back for one last case. So I now am I teach creative writing at Portland State University. But
how long have you been doing that?
I've been there for 7 years. But I miss the law. I love the law. And so every year or so, I will second chair a case with a legal partner of mine, Teresa Ristenpart in Reno. So I do that work still.
Do you ever practice law in Oregon? Do you have a license there, or just occasionally come back to Nevada?
I do not have a license in Oregon, and I think that this is probably just in my head, but I think that I'm only qualified to practice law in Nevada. Nevada feels like a singular place in a singular state, and the legal community is pretty unique there, I think. So I can't imagine sort of starting over in a different state.
Now, that's really interesting that you say that, and this sort of gets to some of the questions about the book. Um, do you think the practice of law is really that different from place to place? So why do you think that?
That's a great question. And I don't have a ton of experience to go on. I have some of my closest friends up here in Oregon are former defenders who are now still in public interest, social justice areas of law. And I talk with them about their experiences in New York and in New Orleans. So I've had a chance to see how some of the practices are different from place to place. But when I talk about Nevada, and particularly Northern Nevada, I think about a couple of factors. I think about the size of the legal community. Nevada is Reno's the biggest little city in the world, I think, particularly in the legal community. And so as a result, you end up seeing the same attorneys, the same judges, the same defense attorneys, the same bailiffs, the same court staff, day in, day out. And those personal relationships, I suspect more so than in larger jurisdictions, end up playing a larger factor in the law.
Now, you've taken those experiences, obviously. So now I want to get to the reason we're here and talk about your book. So the book is called The Silver State, and it is about a pair of public defenders in Reno. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I'll tell you, I bought the book and I debated whether or not I should start reading it or try to read it before this interview. And I decided I want to come into it without accidentally spoiling anything or anything else like that and come at it fresh. So I've not started reading it yet. I'm looking forward to it. But give us what's the back of the book? Tease it for us.
Sure. Yeah, the book is told through the point of view of a public defender named Santi. And Santi has been, at the start of the book, been a public defender for about 10 years. He's pretty jaded. He's a little burned out. He's been doing it for a long time. And what happens is he receives a letter from an old client who is now on death row. And this is a client that he knows in his mind is innocent. And so this letter starts stirring up a lot of memories about Santi's first year as a public defender, and particularly his mentorship under an older female attorney named CJ. And so that gets us back into his first year. And a lot of the book is about the experience of being a young public defender, of how you learn on the job, of how you come to understand the city that you've lived in for so long in a really different way. And also just kind of the terror that comes along with the work as well. When you're young, you're inexperienced, and the stakes are incredibly high for your clients.
So, is there any point of view in the book from the prosecutor's standpoint of prosecuting this case, this death penalty case?
Oh, absolutely not, Orrin. I would never give a prosecutor a point of view.
I used to be a prosecutor. I mean, they're humans too. How dare you?
So I've been told.
So it is though, strictly from the point of view of the defense attorneys?
It is. And, I'm joking about that. I think, I know a lot of prosecutors, and I know that the work that they do is extremely important and difficult as well. And I don't mean to make light of that. For me, though, I really wanted to center this around the defense attorney's experience, and also the way that the defense attorney's experience, at least from my history and for the characters in my book, the way that it often doesn't match expectations. I think a lot of
before we get into that, I want to take a break because I've got a lot of questions about those, and that's a whole interesting new line of questions. We're going to ask them after the break when we come back.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. If you're just joining us, with us today is Gabriel Urza, who is an author and an attorney. Most recently, the book Silver State. That's your third book, is that correct?
I'm going to hold up the book briefly.
I know. I was thinking about, doing the Conan O'Brien thing, all the late night guys that hold up the book or show a clip. But
I know. I should have worn a T-shirt with the Silver State on it.
So the book is about a pair of public defenders that, and sort of focusing on the younger of the two. How much of this is sort of autobiographical for you as a former public defender?
That's a complicated question. This has been a difficult and time-consuming book for me to write. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because when I first started to write this book, a lot more of me was in it. And what happened was, because I was relying on my own experience, I started including a lot of anecdotes and war stories. And the problem with anecdotes and war stories is that they oftentimes don't really tell a larger, compelling overall story. So at a certain point, I realized that I had to leave my own experiences behind. Hopefully the day-to-day, the minutia stuff of what it's like to open up a file, to research a case, to investigate a case, to take a case into court. Those are things that I drew from. But the specifics, the anecdotes, the previous clients, the other attorneys that I worked with, for example, all of those fell by the wayside, and I felt a lot more creative freedom when I allowed myself to just create entirely new characters and factual situations.
So I should not read your book wondering where I'm going to find all the people that we know and like and don't like, that sort of thing.
Well, there is an Orrin character in here.
Is there really?
No.
Oh. I don't know. You had me excited. So, so why set it in Reno? Is there any reason for that? We talked a little bit about, you thought it's kind of a unique place. Is that just because you know it and we say write what you know?
Yeah, I think partially it's because I know it and you write what you know. The other thing is I think that Reno is such an interesting, compelling state or location, and Nevada is an interesting state. There is a history in the state that doesn't go back all that far. And so some of that history actually kind of seeps into the book as well. And then Reno itself, it's just, it's a small gambling town between the desert and the mountains. And so books that I write oftentimes have the environment exerting a lot of pressure on the characters. And so a lot of this book takes place up at Tahoe, out at Pyramid Lake, out in the desert. These are places where evidence can get lost or disposed of, where characters can get lost. And so I think there's just a lot of dramatic potential for an area like that. And I also just want people to read a book that's about law and the criminal justice system that's not set in like New York City.
No, that's fair.
We have plenty of those.
No, that's true. That's true. So Let's talk about a broader context. You know, these days everybody wants to read their politics into every piece of art that ever comes in. I think Arthur C. Clarke said, if you want to send a message, then call Western Union or something, which I always appreciated as a quote from an author. But is there a message that you're trying to convey? Is there something beyond the story itself that you're trying to impart?
No, that's a great question. I hope it doesn't come through as being, overly on message. I think if there's anything that I want to convey, it's that the job is incredibly difficult and undersourced and underfunded, and that people might go in with the best intentions, intending to help people, intending to change the system, but I think that the overload and the dysfunctions of the system make it so that even people who have the best intentions aren't able to succeed, that they're sort of destined to fail by design. And that's a difficult realization to come to, especially when we think about the way that defense attorneys are often portrayed in the larger media. When you think about Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird as being these actors who are saving people, who are righting injustices. In my experience, those things happen occasionally, but the much more common experience is a sense of frustration and being overwhelmed by just the volume of cases, the lack of resources.
And in this case, the story is about essentially whether or not that caused a real injustice. Obviously, if somebody's falsely convicted of a death penalty case.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, when we come back, I want to talk about some of those. That answer created a whole bunch of different questions about some of the shortfalls, and I think those are interesting to a lot of people. And so we're going to talk about those when we come back.
We wouldn't steer you wrong with the gold standard of steaks at Joel's Chop House. Indulge in dry-aged steaks, seafood, Wagyu tomahawks, and great views of the Strip.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. This is Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. If you're just joining us, we have Gabriel Urza, who's an author and attorney. Most recently, his new novel is called The Silver State, about a pair of public defenders set here in Reno. So, we got into a little bit in the last segment, hinting at the sort of shortcomings of the criminal justice system, and in particular, one of the things that I have. So I started my career, as you mentioned earlier, at the public defender's office. I was a prosecutor for 6 years. Now I'm in private practice. Been doing that for almost 7, and I see a vast difference in the practice of law between private practice and being a public defender. And you've done a little bit of private work. I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So through the characters and the exploration of the characters in the public defender system, is there what are some of those sort of shortcomings that the characters encounter? Does that speak to, is there a better way of doing business than having public defenders' offices? I'm curious about your character's point of view and yours.
I've thought a lot about this. I don't know if I have any solutions, but I'll tell you about how it manifests for the characters in the book. So the narrator's this young public defender named Santi, and I think a lot of what he is learning and realizing is when you're in law school, you learn the law as if it is what rules the day. If X happens, then Y must proceed. But what he realizes in practice is that personal relationships can be as important, if not more important, to the outcomes of his clients than the law itself. And so, how does Santi see that happen? At one point, he and his partner receive a very difficult, high profile murder case, and they fight it tooth and nail. They fight it tooth and nail because it's a death penalty case and the government is trying to kill their client. As a result, the prosecutor's office basically tries to punish Santi and his partner by not offering them negotiations on the hundreds of other cases that they have. And this is all discretion, right? Like the district attorney has the discretion to offer a plea negotiation or not. And so to put pressure on Santi and on his partner CJ, all of a sudden, all their other cases are going to trial. All of their other cases that should be resolved with probation or a dismissal are not being dealt down at all. And so they're protecting their client who's on who's being charged with the death penalty, but it's to the detriment of all of their other clients. And that's a real impossible situation, moral situation. There's no right way to do that. You can't not defend your death penalty client with everything you have, but you are also being compromised in your representation of all of your other clients. And so I think for somebody like Santi, that's a really difficult position to be in, just morally and ethically. He feels like he's not allowed to do the right thing.
Is there, getting sort of away from the book, is there a solution to that? Because that's certainly something, I mean, not quite that dramatically, obviously, but even just you're in a courtroom and you got 5 guys and there's, if you fight the same kind of amount for each of them, the sort of guy who really needs the extra push, maybe he gets lost in the shuffle when you've got a whole stack of 10 cases, and that's a frustrating and sort of I don't know, it's a solvable ethical issue. Is there? I've also thought about this a lot over the years and wondered if having a public defender's office is not, if maybe not, there's not a better way to serve indigent criminal defendants. Has this book, made you think about that at all, or given any thought to that?
Oh yeah, and I want to hear your thoughts also, if that's okay. I don't think I've come to a definitive decision, but I've been thinking a lot about the role of discretion in the criminal justice system. Discretion is the ability for any of a number of actors, right? Whether it's a judge or a defense attorney, but especially prosecutors, to move a case one way or the other, whether it's at sentencing or whether it's charging. And discretion is 2 things at the same time. It's, on the one hand, it's mercy. It's the chance to grant mercy to people that we think need it. But at the same time, it's also bias. Discretion is the chance for individuals to look at a case through their own lens and decide what the right outcome is, whether that's a prosecutor or a judge or a defense attorney. So those things feel like they are at odds with each other. And I think that there have been some efforts to take away the bias by, I think at the federal system, there were mandatory sentencing laws that
which wound up creating their own injustices because then you treat cases like cookie cutters instead of like humans.
Exactly. And so there's a conflict there as well. Who knows, in 5 years, we might have AI overlords who can dispense justice more justly and more objectively than we can.
Well, at the risk of offending our AI overlords in the future, we're going to record this and remember it. I say no. But so that's all the time we have for today. And that's, unfortunately, I'll tell you my thoughts some other time. But real quick, is this the start of a series? It sounds like you've set up a universe and characters that could go further.
Yeah, I love these characters. And I do have sort of another novel in mind with these same characters. In Nevada, but I haven't started working on it yet. So hopefully so. I would love to. I'd love to go back to these characters into this place. And also, I do a lot of research on my books. And so I spent a lot of time in Nevada for this last one. And I always love coming back home. So it would be a good excuse to come home.
I hope you do, because it'd be a great excuse to have you back. But we're out of time for now. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much, Orrin. It was great.
You bet. Take care, Gabe. We'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience. Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Thank you for joining us on Nevada Newsmakers. That's all the time we have for today. This has been Orrin Johnson filling in for Sam Shad. You can join us 24/7 at NevadaNewsmakers.com or download our podcast anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Thank you for joining us.